Guys, there's 9 days left until this book is released and available for purchase. So while we wait, we are doing a bit of a countdown to the big day by sharing little snippets of information about how, of the things that led to this point, of me going to Pakistan, meeting Nadim, and then eventually writing this story. So yesterday we talked a bit about my youth, growing up in northern BC and then eventually moving to the Kootenays. So we can pick up there, which means the story today starts in the early 1990s. I had just graduated from high school in Nelson, BC, and I was working as a deckhand on the Kootenay Lake Ferry. It was a pretty good job. I loved it actually, but it was seasonal, and it wasn't really a career. So it was great for a few years. You know, I'd work through the summer and I'd ski through the winter. It was kind of ideal. But I had my eyes set on becoming a paramedic. I wasn't old enough to become a paramedic, so while I waited for that, I continued to take first aid and safety courses. I became qualified in my industrial first aid certification, which at that time was the entry requirement for becoming a part-time paramedic in BC. So eventually I turned 19. I applied right away to the ambulance service, and within a few months I was hired, and that began my 8-year time as a part-time paramedic in rural BC. So during that time, because I was only a part-time employee, I needed several odd jobs to help pay my way. So the ferry, I let go of the deckhand job because it wasn't possible really to do both. But I did take on short-term jobs such as safe first aid attendant at a lead and zinc smelter, being a CPR and first aid instructor within the community. I worked for a while as a customer service representative at a local bank. And then my last job was being a first aid and safety officer on a shipyards that was building the car ferry that would eventually replace the ferry I had worked on as a teenager. So that was a really interesting job. But finally, the day came that I had enough seniority and I got the phone call to offer me a full-time paramedic position in Vancouver. I accepted it and I moved to the city. So that's where I'll leave today's story. But over the next 8 days, we'll continue the countdown and I'll continue sharing details about what led to April 19th when this book goes on sale.